of September. And to open our meeting this morning, Councillor Bell, if you would like to open our meeting for us.
Kore te reo Pākehā ki te reo Māori. E nei te pōna ngā te ao. Ka rangatia kia ita. Ka rangatia ko tāne I whakairihia. E apati ki rongo, e apati ki raro. Ka whea mai waho, rāwe mai roto. Ki rau tāne waka piri piri e tūnei. Heke ki nuku, heke ki rangi wātia tū, ko te whae ao, ko te ao mārama. Mārama haro ki tō pia, ki tō uri, e tūriki nei rangi. Rire, hau, pai mārire. I te tōtahi, ka mihi aroha ki ngā whānau pane o te hiri, o te whānau Reid, ki ngā whānau pane o Ngāti Kaupata, ki te whānau Graham. Hea hau te mea o tēnei wiki, nō reira, whakanui te wiki te reo Māori. Ngā mihi ki ngā rangatira, ngā kai kōrero o te reo Māori. This week is the 50th celebration of te reo Māori, which is why I opened and stayed in te reo Māori throughout the opening. It's custom after karakia for us to acknowledge those that are grieving. So I acknowledge Tū Marae, Te Hiri and Kaupata, where the rangatahi that's laying there today, and his service will be there today. So to those whānau that are grieving today. I also want to acknowledge Hatapōra College and Manukura that are competing at Ngā Manu Kōrero today. I was able to see their wonderful speeches, and I won't be surprised if they make it into the top 3. So well done to our Manawatū students today.
Excellent, thank you. Right, apologies. This morning we have an apology from Councillor Hadfield. His wife is in hospital. So we will need a motion for that. Councillor Campbell was to join us on Zoom. He's not there yet, is that right, Ash? Okay. So I'm happy to move that an apology from Councillor Grant Hadfield be approved, seconded by Councillor Ford. Put the motion, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, motion is carried. Thank you. Also, our CE Shane, his wife is recovering from being in hospital, and he will join us later today. So welcome, Francis, as our acting CE for this meeting. Item 3, confirmation of minutes on page 7. There is a recommendation there, but I also just wanted to point out to you, going through, checking that the actions have been followed up on page 10, there was a request for a update on Marae relationship, how that was going from a Marae perspective. Gerald will be with us at the workshop this afternoon to go through that, the results of the survey that they've done. And unless anyone else has anything else from the minutes, I'll call for a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Ford.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the minutes of the council meeting held 4th of September 2025 be adopted as a true and correct record.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Short. Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. Thank you. I also forgot to wish a belated happy birthday to Councillor Quarry. I see he's promoting his favourite birthday card on the table. And thank you for a very enjoyable function the other night. Item 4, declaration of interest. Any items on the agenda today that members may wish to declare? None? Excellent. Right, we have no public forum speakers, but this morning we have one from our representative fund. And I'm going to invite Jonty to come up and join us. Come up and join us at the table, and turn that microphone on so you've got a green light. And so Jonty was at the Tri-Series in Ballarat in Australia. So Jonty, I'm going to hand it over to you to tell us about your experience.
My name is
Yes.
My name is Jonty Howard. I'm a resident of Halton and the Paris on North Streams of representing not only Manawatū at the Paralympics, but one day also New Zealand. Back in July this year, with financial assistance, I attended the Tri-Series swimming competition in Ballarat with a team of 40 swimmers from all around New Zealand. As the only one from Manawatū, this was a real privilege, but without the help from yourselves, my parents, other family, and friends, this would not be possible. The Tri-Series is a competition that was designed to introduce developing swimmers like myself to demands of performance of racing in an international environment. The New Zealand Tri-Series swimmers consisted of 2 teams split into age groups, NZ Black and NZ White. I had the privilege of being in NZ White. Being a fan is a feeling I won't ever forget. The pride, the nerves, and the well factor. This is getting real. To be honest with you, all I was blown away by all that I didn't take any photos as I was too in the moment. I wanted to absorb it all like a sponge. Mum and Dad were still waiting for a photo to be sent of me and my 10-year twins. I started off traveling to Auckland on a Saturday and meeting the rest of my team. So many new faces and a couple of familiar ones also. We also had to qualify for this fantastic opportunity at various swim meets throughout the past year, so we battled it out in the water against each other a few times. But this time, we won a team. After settling in our rooms, we had an early dinner, did a Q&A, and it was time for an early night. Next morning, 5 a.m. wake up. It was time to get on board the vans and head to the airport for our flight to Melbourne. After clearing costumes, etc., we boarded the plane and left New Zealand waters. Arriving in Melbourne, it was time to head to the supermarket for swim snacks and find our accommodation. This is where we met Australian team, Western Australia and Victoria. It was really interesting to see how everyone dealt with things and prepared for days ahead. I was so grateful. My coach had given me tips and tricks that I felt confident enough to be doing the groceries in a strange shop on my own. Another early night. Not much sleep because I was excited but nervous, and Monday had arrived. Monday, we all travelled to Ballarat, found our accommodation and the pool. We all felt like we needed to swim off our nerves and get our bodies moving, so we did. This was a fantastic chance to work with our Commonwealth and Olympic coaches and show them what we could do. One main highlight also was to change to make the facility manager hosting the event and give feedback and insights to renovations and adaptations that could include or exclude to make their facility extra accessible. It was really cool to have the chance to help other kids like me. Something so simple as a lower mirror for the ladies or a lower urinal for the boys can make a huge difference. Throughout the next 4 days, I felt like I was challenged, physically, mentally, but also to get out of my comfort zone. I learned so much, made so many new friends, even a couple of Aussies, and mentored my goals into water. Mental growth was really mind-blowing. I did not place in any races, but I did get a handful of personal bests. I learned new breaststroke techniques and tried new things. I would like to take the time to thank you all for assisting me in making this dream come true. And I invite you to follow my journey on Facebook, Jonty Owen Paraswimmer.
Awesome. Well done, Jonty. That's amazing. And presentation. Thank you for coming along so confident this morning and telling us about your experience. What's your goal now? What are you going to do next?
Probably aim for another international meet.
Right. And have you got some long-term goals, what you'd like to aim for?
Represent New Zealand at the World of Games or Paralympics.
Awesome. Awesome. And with your personality and attitude, I'm sure you're going to get there. Any questions, comments from the team around the table? Councillor Ford.
Yeah, well done, Jonty, and congratulations on your personal bests. I mean, that's huge. The Tri-Series, can you just clarify which 3? So I take it was New Zealand, but you mentioned Victoria and Western Australia. Were they the other 2 states? Right. Okay. So why not New South Wales and Queensland? And you weren't organising it. Fair enough. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Short.
Well done, what an experience. And what was the aquatic centre facilities like compared to the Makina?
Oh.
Yeah, do you get any ideas for us of things that we might need over there?
Maybe,
That's a really good question, Councillor Short. It would be really good for you, if you would like to, and we'd appreciate it, for you to come up with a list of things that you think, having had that experience, that we could put on our wish list. I'm not saying we'll be able to do it, but our wish list about how do we improve the facilities, because despite what central government tell us about taking out those nice to haves, all of our really cool athletes and Olympians start in communities like ours at our local pool. So, so just thank you so much for today, and we wish you all the best, and we'll see your name up in lights, I'm sure. Thank you. Excellent. Right, no later items, no recommendations from committees, so we can go straight to item 9. This is reviewing the community committee and group meetings for the past couple of weeks, and we've got 3 community committees there listed as having held their meetings, and I'll ask Councillor Underwood, followed by Councillor Short, to give us an update. First of all, Huanui.
Yes, thank you. Huanui are grateful for receiving some funding from the Contestable Fund, and they can go on with their pathways, so they're hoping to complete another branch.
Excellent. Yep, I bike that most Saturdays, and it's getting really impressive. It's good to be able to stay off the road.
Oh, if I could just say also that they had the school come and make a presentation, Enviro Schools, regarding the predator eradication, because the committee were the ones who were the drivers of that, and accessing the traps and everything that was for that. So they did a very good presentation prior to the committee meeting starting.
Excellent. Councillor Short, thanks, and Tangi Moana.
Sanson, they've taken delivery of their history boards that they're going to be putting up, but they're not installed yet. There's about 8 or 10. Really, really interesting. Some of the old history from Sanson, including, rail car line and all sorts of things. So that's using up the last of their money from last year. So it's good to see that ticked off. And they had a member of the community come to put a proposal to them about a native planting in the gully at the back of the cemetery. So they're quite keen on being involved in that. It will be a couple of year project. So that's something that they're working on. Tangi Moana, I didn't actually get to Tangi Moana on Monday night because I helped at the Young Achievers Awards. But when I spoke to Jennifer, they didn't have a lot that was there was no emerging issues that I'm aware of. So it's just,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Tracking along.
Thank you. And that brings us nicely to Councillor Blackmore with the Youth Council, and also want to pass on congratulations to you and Councillor Short and all the other, Joey and the team and the Youth Council members. It was an excellent night. It was really nicely set out and well done. So it was a credit to the team.
Thank you. Well, we didn't have a meeting on the 15th because we had the Young Achievers Awards, and there's not much more to say. Thank you, Mayor Helen.
Thank you. And so I'm assuming you'll have a follow-up debrief and...
Yeah, I think that's booked for next week.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. And it just gets better and better. So well done. Councillor Ford.
If I could just add congratulations to Councillor Bell for her
Yes.
keynote speech. It was very motivating for young people. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. Well done. Right, so moving on, 9.2, any recent updates from Marae liaison councillors? We will get a bit more of a discussion on that later. None in the last fortnight.
Yes, please.
Councillor Bell.
I've had quite a lot of liaising with our marae and Te Kotu Reo, so I thought I would publicly, on behalf of Frances and Te Kotu Reo, she's already said a thank you, send a big thank you Francis, to your team, to Hamish, to all the team that received our kura, our schools, our kohanga babies on Friday after our activation hikoi. Thank you for the helpful assistance that you made. Thank you for receiving us, and thank you for the warmth. I also just want to really be clear about my role in that space, because I know there's an assumption that I called the hikoi, and I didn't. So I want to give the credit to Te Kōtui Reo, the mana back to Te Kōtui Reo. I was actually sitting with another council of the library when I found out about it. So it's just to make sure that there is honest dialogue that's circulating. Yes, I attended. Yes, I supported it, but I didn't call it, nor did I request that of Te Kōtui Reo. The credit goes to them for that. The other bit that I wanted to say and confirm that there was a meeting on the Thursday night. The meeting had Francis and Shane in terms of Te Kōtui Reo reps. For those that have a marae liaison, we had Tahiti, Te Tikanga Marae, we had Taumata Te Rā, Aorangi, Pou Patatia, and Ngā Whakaroa. And Francis and Shane. And I think what's really important is that we will meet after October the 11th again. But in the meantime, unless you're one of those names, then it's important that we as governance stay professional, not comment on a meeting we weren't present at. So it's important. So I've said the names, those who were at the meeting, that includes myself. We won't circulate any comments about the meeting. And those that were present, we will have a hui after October the 11th. We'll whakatika then. Okay. Cool.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Bell. Right, we're moving on to item number 10, Officers' Report. We're almost in the right time frame, so not sure if we've got any of our submitters with us as yet. So 8:50 was our first submitter, so she can't be far away. So
I'm here. I'm online.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. I can see you there. Let's just do a bit of an introduction. So we're on item 10.1. This is to hear the submissions on the consultation that we've done for our public places bylaw. Just reminded the members today is about listening to our submitters and asking questions in relation to their submission. Deliberations and decision will be done at our next council meeting. So I'm going to hand over to Axel and Francis to do the introduction, and then we will start with our submitters. Thanks, Axel.
Thank you. Morena, good morning, Your Worship, councillors. So
we
I'd just
might
like
need
to-
the microphone for the online.
Can you hear me all right? Right. 1, 2, 3. 2 greens. So I'd just like to take this opportunity to briefly emphasize a couple of points from the report before you. Council consulted on the draft public places bylaw from 28th July to 29th August 2025, and we received a total of 15 submissions. Of these 15 submissions, 4 submitters requested to speak. So by way of comparison, consultation on the Freedom Camping bylaw earlier this year generated 17 submissions with 3 submitters wishing to speak at the time. So you'll be hearing today from the 4 submitters who have taken this opportunity to present their submission to you in person. First to speak will be Sally Dara on behalf of the Whatuora Health New Zealand, followed by Josie Capri on behalf of the Cancer Society, followed by Melissa Fryer, and lastly, Barbara Robson on behalf of Tivona Park Orchard Trust. Copies of the submissions were attached as Annex A to my report. And as Mayor Helen said, just a reminder again, no decisions are being made. Following this meeting, my colleagues and I will analyze the feedback received in oral and written submission, and we will present this information to you to assist in your deliberations. The deliberation meeting is scheduled for the 2nd October council meeting. And with that being said, I'd like to hand back to Mayor Helen now to welcome our submitters.
Thank you. Before we do that, we have a recommendation on page 14 that we need to manage before we hear from our submitters. So on page 14, there is a recommendation. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Ford.
I move that council receive the report on the hearing of submissions, public places bylaw, and hear from submitters who have indicated that they wish to be heard.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Blackmore. Thank you. Any discussion? Put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. Thank you. So with that, welcome, Sally. And we have your submission, and that's on our page 21. And on behalf of Health New Zealand. So I'm going to hand it over to you to take us through your submission and any highlights.
Right. Kia ora koutou. Thank you for the opportunity to submit today. I'm sad that I'm not there with you in person, but it is great that we can use this online option. So, ko Sally Dara toko ingoa, I work for National Public Health Service, and we are under the umbrella of Health New Zealand Te Whatu Ora. Our functions are things around protecting public health. So we're in the kind of prevention, early intervention stage. We have our public health nurses, our health protection team who became well known during the COVID pandemic. And we also have health promotion, which is my field. And we are about creating healthy environments. So I'm here today to talk about your public places bylaw and some recommendations that we have with regards to that. So I just really want to acknowledge that the work that you have done in the beginning actually on your smoke-free, vape-free policy. And so these recommendations kind of align with that policy as well. So they're just kind of taking that a little bit further. So what we're suggesting is that in your bylaw, in the part where you have your street user permit framework, that particularly with the outdoor dining part, so where you have tables and chairs on the footpath, we are recommending that you make those smoke-free and vape-free. And so what that means is that the cafe or bar or restaurant, the people that would be having that permit on the council land would be displaying smoke-free and vape-free signage, and that you would not be providing ashtrays or anything that would be collecting any cigarette butts or anything like that. And I just really wanted to reflect, because there's quite a number of councils who have done this already. And I know that one of the things that people worry about is the impact on business. And so Palmerston North City Council implemented this permit condition in 2015, and a survey was done of the businesses a year later. And so out of them, 80% of the businesses said that it was either positive or neutral, that they didn't think that it was either great for their business, or they didn't think that there was, it was negatively impacted in any way, which is great news. A lot of the comments that we had were things like from the, cafes and that kind of thing is, it's great. Like, so on a sunny day when we've got all our doors and windows open, we don't have smoke or vapor or anything blowing into our cafe, which makes it really pleasant for those people who are inside as well. We also recommend that you put a statement in your public places bylaw that reflects your commitment to the smoke-free and vape-free policy. And so that looks at reducing smoking and vaping in shared spaces such as parks, reserves and sports fields. We also recommend that it would be great if you could put for any street vendor activity that there's visible smoke-free and vape-free signage, and that is part of their permit conditions. Okay, so I guess the reason for this is that it would actually support your smoke-free and vape-free policy. And so when we look at things like promoting healthier environments, what that means is that people are less exposed to things like smoke, so the air quality is improved, and vapour. And also, I think what is really important in this is that it's really encouraging our smoke-free and vape-free behaviour. So I think there's been a lot of research to show that particularly for young people, the less they see these activities, the less likely they are to be doing them themselves. And certainly we hear from our schools about the rise of vaping in that situation. And so the less our young ones are seeing it out and about, the less they are seeing that it is something that they want to be doing. I guess the other thing as well is that one of the things that happens when people go to have support around stopping smoking and vaping, which are both, they're both very addictive. So anyone that has smoked or vaped will know that it is very hard to stop. So one of the questions that will be asked of that person when they get some support about stopping is, so what are your times when you can easily be smoke-free and vape-free? So if one of those times is when they go to a cafe and sit outside and have a coffee, that's actually helping them to be less addicted to that product. Also reflect on the amount. In our 2023 census, 8.9% of people in the Manawatū district area were smoking, which is actually higher than the national average. And we're also seeing that for young people, there's a lot of young people who are vaping. So there's about 19% of people who are 16 to 19 who would have vaped in the last 30 days. 1 in 5 Māori who are in year 10 vape. And our rates of vaping for 18 to 24-year-olds are 26.5. So these are national stats, by the way. So I guess the other thing I want to highlight is that this would not be something that would be in isolation. There are a lot of other strategies that are happening, like we're actively supporting our schools around smoking and vaping. We have cessation services which are available to help people to stop. And we also have a whole range of measures across the country where different councils and different environments are promoting smoke-free and vape-free behaviour. So I just wanted to show you this picture here, and this is you may have seen these maps before. So this is a map of the different spaces and places which are smoke-free across the country. So other councils which have implemented the smoke-free permit conditions really successfully are Auckland, Wellington, Palmerston North City Council, and most recently Horowhenua. And there are others, as you will see. They've got the knife and the fork and the plate. Yeah, and I just wanted to conclude with, if you go down putting this permit condition into your smoke-free outdoor, your permit into the public places bylaw, that there are actually lots of resources out there already to help you. So there's guides on what businesses need to know. There's lots of different signage, and there's plenty of advice that can help you. So that's me. Thank you.
Thanks, Sally. Thank you so much for your support and for taking the time today. Let's open it up. There may be some questions from our team. Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you. Thank you, Sally. I'm wondering, do you have any data on the ongoing cost to the health system of smoking and vaping related disease?
Yes, we do. I don't have it right in front of me, but we can certainly forward that to you. And it is huge. And there's a lot of diseases with, and I guess with vaping, what we're seeing is that there's a lot of emerging evidence to show that because of the level of addiction it can be even higher than smoking, because with smoking, people are limited to how many cigarettes they might have a day by how many they have. Whereas vaping might have up to 1,000 puffs in it, so the level of addiction can be a lot higher. And so what we're seeing there is we are seeing health conditions, but what we are seeing more is at this stage is young people who are unable to concentrate because their level of addiction. So that I guess down the track that'll be huge, because they won't be able to get the best out of school. They won't be able to get the best out of other opportunities which are in front of them. So yes, I will send you that data.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Short answer.
I also appreciate if you could send the presentation, because we couldn't see your map very clearly.
Yeah,
I think it'll be interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Sally. I think one of the questions that I have is just around, because obviously you're reacting in a submission to the bylaw, but have you got any insights, and it's very reactive, have you got any insights of proactive strategies? Because one of the things that alarms me is your rangatahi stats.
Yeah. So we are working really closely with our schools in that space. And I think we have behind us, we have a really great network in tobacco control. So there is a lot of research happening right now about different strategies that could be employed to reduce our youth vaping. Alongside one of the other functions that public health does is around compliance. So we have a compliance officer who makes sure that all our shops that are selling vapes actually are complying with the legislation, that they're not supplying to under 18-year-olds, that there's new regulations in place where you can't see from the outside all the products. You might notice some of the vape shops have now got a door, or they've got those that stuff that you put on windows so that you can't see in. So that's one of our strategies, and we run things called controlled purchase operations, where we have young people who will under our umbrella who will go and try and purchase the products. So and if they are successful, then that organisation will receive an infringement fine. So there are lots of things that are happening. This is just one avenue in a whole range of other actions that are happening.
Thank you, Sally. Just one more question. So, the bylaw is really more of a mitigation than it is preventative. Is there anything, you might not be able to answer now, but it's something you can think about, is there anything that you feel that council can do beyond that, that's a preventative strategy to help?
Definitely. Well, there's all sorts of things around making smoke-free events, smoke-free, vape-free events. You can be promoting it with, in your organisation. The other thing that I forgot to mention was that people can actually make a complaint as well. So should you know of a shop or something that is making is selling to young people, or you suspect is selling to young people, you can make that complaint, and actually you could have that QR code on your website so that people know that they can actually complain, and that means that they're more likely to then we will investigate them. It's about enabling that kind of community voice in this whole space as well. And I guess the other thing that council can do is when the legislation comes up in central government about how these products are sold, that you can actually submit to that as well.
Thank you, Sally.
And if you have the ear of an MP, that's another good place.
Thank you. Councillor Belsky.
Thank you for coming today and presenting this policy. There's one thing that does concern me, and I just want to ask you about is in recommendations 1C, you said that ashtrays, etc., used for collecting cigarette ash, well, ash is not the problem, but it's the butts. What's your, to keep our town tidy, and I've seen cigarette butts in our gutters and our streets, and they end up in our stormwater and creeks and polluting things. And you say that we should take them all away or not have them. Have you got a volunteer group that goes around picking butts up? Because the desire for smoking is greater than what they're going to do with their butts. So I've seen them, and I think all of us have seen them just chuck their butts down. And I thought it would be prudent for a council to have these ashtrays, because it's not against the law to smoke. And I just thought it would be prudent to keep some ashtrays around for them to deposit their butts. And would that be fair?
So what we're suggesting is that when you have tables and chairs on the footpath for the purpose of outdoor dining, that it's a smoke-free area, that it's clearly labelled, and that you don't, if you provide an ashtray on that table, then you're suggesting that that person can smoke there. So so we're not suggesting that people. What we're suggesting is that it's a smoke-free area, and the more areas you make smoke-free, the less butts you will have.
So what you're saying is, where you have a dining place, there's no ashtrays, but down further or somewhere there may be something they can put their cigarette butts in. Would that be possible?
Yeah. Sorry, I think you froze a little bit. Yeah, I can't can't hear you. So you were saying,
yeah, Sally, we're having a bit of trouble with the reception on this, but I think Councillor Belsky heard your reply, and I thank you for that. Also running out of time. So I just want to thank you and the and Health New Zealand for the work that you do in this space and for taking the time to talk to us today. So I appreciate that. And as we said before, we'll deliberate and make our decision at our next council.
Great. And I'll send that other information through.
Yes, please. Thank you. And that will be circulated.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right. Our next submitter is from the Cancer Society. Josie, come and join us at the table. Turn the microphone on, make sure it's green so we can all hear you. Cancer Society's submission is on page 27. We have read that and you're welcome to speak to it.
Kia ora koutou. Ko Josephine Tapuingwa, ko toi tu te whenua tokumahi. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, for me to speak to you today. My submission focuses on the vital role Manawatū District Council plays in community wellbeing and development, creating a healthy, safe and inclusive environment for the community to thrive. The Cancer Society Manawatū holds a strong position towards advocating for smoke-free and vape-free environments to reduce the rate of smoking-related cancers within our communities, so that there are places where our rangatahi and tamariki can grow up with fresh air and healthy choices. Being a smoke-free and vape-free community offers numerous benefits, including positive role modelling for our tamariki and rangatahi, a healthy environment for families, protection for non-smokers from secondhand smoke, and reduced harm to the natural environment. It was disheartening to find out after submitting towards the Council's public places bylaw that their smoke-free and vape-free policy had been updated behind closed doors, with no public or sector consultation. Not only that, but the addition of provision for designated smoking areas to be highlighted multiple times in the renewed policy. The lack of consultation hinders evidence-based advice from being included into the policy renewal, as well as going against section 3.2 of the policy, stating that council will work with stakeholders towards reaching the government's stated goal of smoke-free Aotearoa by 2025. The inclusion of designated smoking areas is not an appropriate solution to reduce the harms of secondhand smoke to the community or encourage towards quitting, which are the stated goals of the policy. This type of action only increases the likelihood of secondhand smoke and vape in the air of council-owned premises, while also creating confusing rules for the public to follow. Clear and concise messaging of completely smoke-free and vape-free environments need to be encouraged to protect the health of our community members. Were you going to make the designated smoking areas further enough away from play spaces or recreational grounds to ensure tamariki aren't exposed to secondhand smoke or vapour? Or that rangatahi can't see this behaviour and see it as the norm? Were you going to make them further enough away from entrances to buildings so that the smoke can't linger into the buildings? Were you going to put them in a box or enclosed space to ensure the reduction of secondhand smoke in our environments, but in turn increasing the amount of tobacco and nicotine inhaled by the users of the space and increasing their likelihood of being affected by these harmful substances? These are all the questions and more I and my colleagues in the health sector would have brought to your attention if we were given a phone call or email to discuss the renewal of this policy. This renewal has made your council go backwards and not excel forwards in regards to smoke-free and vape-free environments and protecting your residents. Other councils are making great movements in policy and regulation. Mentioned in my submission is the great work HDC and PNCC have done in their areas, while working alongside organisations such as ours to push forward in protecting the health of their communities. In regards to my submission, I still encourage the council to take up my recommendation regarding public spaces bylaw. More than ever, we need smoke-free and vape-free environments supported by the local council. It has been done in other districts and cities. It has support from the health and the community sector. We need your help in taking action towards protecting young communities, the environment, and the health of New Zealand. Thank you.
Thanks, Josie. Thank you for that. Let's open it up for questions from our team. Any questions of the submission or anything you've heard? Councillor Bracken.
Thank you. Josie, thank you for that submission. My question is really the same as I put to Sally, and you probably don't have data available offhand, but I'd be interested to see if you could send us any data that the Cancer Society has about the cost to New Zealand of smoking or vaping related disease. And another thing I'm quite interested in, just given the recency of vaping, whether there's any emerging research as to the impact that actually has from a physiological health perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I don't have the data on hand right now, but there is constant new research coming about vaping, especially for our rangatahi, and the effects not just on the physiological, but also the mental health of our young people and even our older generation as well, who are taking it up as an alternative or even just taking it up and have not smoked before. So we're seeing such an increase in that it's very worrying. Within smoking, obviously, lung cancer is very prominent in New Zealand as a cancer. We are seeing new research around lung cancer screening, which is awesome, but we can be preventative within our smoke-free and vape-free regulation. Thank you. I'd be happy to share that information once I get back to the office.
Thank you. Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Bishop. Thank you for your kōrero today. Thank you for your honesty. I think I'm really interested in the references in your submission, and you've obviously listed some policies that we could look at. One of the things similar to Councillor Blackmore, would it be possible, and it's not saying that I believe in NIMBYism and I don't believe, want to support rangatahi outside of Manawatū, but do you have data of Manawatū smokers and vapors, Manawatū rangatahi, and demographics around that? Is that data that's easy for Cancer Society to retrieve?
It's definitely something we can look into. Obviously, it is easier capturing the whole Aotearoa in the data and finding that, but working alongside Health NZ, we are happy to look further into localities and their statistics. So yeah, we can definitely look into that and see what is available for the Manawatū data.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
The other bit that while you're here, is I just want to acknowledge the timing of your submission. Well done on Daffodil Day. Ngā mihi kia koutou for all your mahi. And that is something obviously our council have supported, but yeah, well done.
Thank you, appreciate that. And obviously the timing right now is super important with the election coming up. We've got new people, running, and I think it's super important for them to be aware of what council is doing within policy space. And so I want to mihi to that and just say, keep your ears up. I will be here. I like to be in councils and I will continue talking to councils.
Thank you. Appreciate it, both your submission and taking time to join us this morning, and your offer to help us get the right policies and the right bylaws in place. So, yeah, thank you for today. And if you have any of that information, just send it in via Ash and that can be circulated. Thank you. Right, next up, Melissa. Is Melissa with us? No? Okay, she may still be coming. She's not online, Ash?
Was someone?
There was a lady at the door, yeah.
Helen, wasn't it?
Might be Melissa.
Okay, so Councillor Underwood's disappeared.
And on checking with the reception.
It seems that she was, but couldn't find where to come and was gone.
She's on a bit close.
Okay, she may return then. Let's move to Barbara. Barbara's with us. Welcome, come and join us at the table from the Timona Park Orchard Trust. And just turn the microphone on screen and speak into that. And thank you for your submission, which starts on page 34.
Maria, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to Timona Park Orchard Trust submission on the proposed changes to the Manawatū District Public Places bylaw. And preparing our submission, we assumed, rightly or wrongly, this bylaw applies to Timona Park. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Barbara Robson, chairperson of the trust, known as Teapot, which maintains the community orchard and helps to look after the small area of native bush and the worrying state of the stormwater pond at the northern end of the park. I'm assuming that you've read our submission, so I'll just highlight a few key points. Happy to take questions thereafter. The riding of motorcycles and other similar vehicles in Timona Park should be a matter of concern to all of us, given the risk of serious harm or even death to a member of the public. It is too late, should such an event occur, to do the hand-wringing after the fact, to say we could or should have done more to prevent this. Even though the riding of motorcycles and other similar vehicles has been less prevalent over the last couple of months, perhaps due to winter or some enforcement activity that may have taken place, and word has got around amongst potential offenders. We Teapotters believe the gaps that we've identified in the interpretations and definitions of the bylaw still need to be addressed. It may seem trivial, but words, or the absence of words, do matter. Hence our recommendation that MDC strengthens the bylaw by inserting definitions for motorcycle, all-terrain vehicle, motor vehicle, and perhaps vehicle, or references to their meaning in the Land Transport Act 1998 if appropriate, into clause 4.2. This would provide clarity and, importantly, avoid any potential legal challenge, especially when it comes to grounds for enforcement. How MDC may choose to go about this is for MDC to determine, not Teapot. But plain language is recommended. For example, avoid the use of contrivance with respect to vehicle as per the Land Transport and Reserves Act. While all of this is tedious, it is important that for enforcement purposes, there are no legal loopholes. It's not okay to turn a blind eye. We will look forward to the outcome of your deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Barbara. Thank you. Yes, and we have read your written submission as well. I'll open it up for any questions from our team. Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Just perhaps for some context, do you have any specific examples related to motor vehicles in Te Mona Park that you could share?
I thought I'd put them into the submission. I mean, I've made numerous reports to the police. I don't find it easy. I feel it quite threatening sometimes, especially if you've been observed. But certainly, you know, dirt bikes going across the sports field, coming down back fence along the back fences and through the orchard. They've occasionally gone into the bush and created a bit of a mess in there. You see, on one day, I mean, I saw kids on their little quad bikes with parents, and there was sports going on the sports field. I've seen someone walking their dog. In other words, he was on a motorbike, and the dog was running around on the park. You know, there was one very frightening occasion, but that was down on Simon Street, so I don't know whether that's part of the park or not. There was 2 quad bikes, and there were a number of people around, and I think everyone was too frightened to do anything about it. And the woman saw me with my phone. She was in a car, and she said to me, "Are you ringing the police?" And I was trying to get registration numbers. But yeah, it's not something that you know, it's not easy to do, to phone the police, and then, as I say, when motorcycles or whatever they look like. I mean, yeah, I did see a beach buggy one day that they're going so fast. There's no regos on dirt bikes. You know, it's difficult to get descriptions. And then the police will say, you know, if, you know, has anything been damaged? Has anyone been harmed? Well, you know, we're encouraged to report, but you kind of think, you know, the police are busy, and where does this fit in their priorities? So it's, I mean, you know, we understand it's around them being notified so they can build a picture of offending. But yeah, it's not straightforward.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what you're suggesting is, given that there's those complications around dealing with it, that we would remove all vehicles having access, apart from obviously the cars and vehicles going through, but any other vehicles for recreation type purposes permitted.
Well, unless there was a specific event. Yeah, I mean, you know, there is, you know, at the entrances to the park, there's the signboards up, and there's a motorcycle diagram of a motorcycle with a red line through it. There's also a diagram of, you know, dogs on, you know, dogs being required to be on leashes, you know, but that's not enforced either. But I don't want motorbikes to become like dogs on leashes in our park.
Thank you. Councillor Shaw.
Thank you. I think you partially answered my question anyway. I was going to say, what sort of signage is there up there? So it's more on the large board that's got quite a lot of recommendations on it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if people look at it.
Just in some of our other communities, particularly our beach villages, if a sign goes up saying no motorbikes, just with that on it, they don't stay there very long.
they go
Yeah,
missing.
yeah. You know, no, the signs don't go missing. The signs are there.
Yeah.
And as I say, if you haven't got stuff, it's the wording and your interpretations on your bylaw, when you come to enforce,
Yes.
you know, you have a leg to stand on.
Councillor Ford.
Yeah, thank you. Just while you're here, Barbara, can I just clarify that you are differentiating between motorbikes and sort of push bikes, which would perhaps include e-bikes? Do you see those as different to motorbikes?
Well, from the looks of clause 4.2 in your bylaw, you are differentiating between the e-bikes are they come under another interpretation from my reading of it.
I was just wondering whether I was going to get in trouble with you or not. That was really.
It's all right. No, and I mean, and when I looked up, you know, these quad bikes, which are all-terrain vehicles, you know, they're not classed as motorcycles. And I'm thinking, you know, this is becoming increasingly important because there's these all-terrain vehicles, as well as dirt bikes, which aren't considered to be motorcycles necessarily. You know, it just depends. You know, as I say, it's.
No, thanks for bringing
You're
it.
doing mental thinking all this through. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your submission. Thank you for your time today and the points that you raise. And so they will be taken into consideration at our next meeting.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that. So we understand Melissa was here. For some reason she thought the door was locked and she wasn't able to get in. But she's now gone. So we will revisit her written submission and consider that along with everything else at our next meeting. So I just want to thank all of our submitters this morning for taking the time. Really important that we hear from our community and we appreciate the time that you've done to do that. So thank you. Right, moving to page 38. And this is seeking approval to apply Resource Management Act Section ATV exemption to the planned stop. In plain English, that means that with the changes being made to the Resource Management Act, government has told us that we are to stop all work that's been done on our district plan reviews. However, there is an opportunity if we think any of our work fits the exemption criteria. We do have that opportunity to apply for an exemption. Doesn't mean we'd necessarily get it. And so today, our team are bringing to us a couple of possibilities that wanting our decision around should we seek an exemption. So I'm going to hand over to Richard and to Matt. Thank you.
Morena tātou. Thank you for the comprehensive introduction, Helen, and I think you've said everything I was going to say. So the report is seeking delegation to make an application for plan stop. Work that we've done looking at the government's criteria for what would apply, what projects could we seek approval for exemption. Really, that boils down to that work in the town centre, as that meets criteria which would allow further housing opportunity. That's the argument we think there's possibility for. And the second project is around working in the designation space, as the requiring authorities, the infrastructure providers, the Ministry of Education, others. There is work we know that they want to do to make sure that their information is up to date. That is a project which we know most councils around the country, or certainly a number that we've talked to, are also interested in seeking an exemption for. Again, as me and Helen has pointed out, applying for an exemption is simply that. Can we please continue this work? It's not predetermining the decision of the minister, whether we can or not, and it's not predetermining the outcome of those plan changes, which presuming we we get the approval from the minister to continue, or then we continue the normal Schedule 1 process, which is consultation, engagement, submissions, hearing, et cetera, et cetera. So the list of recommendations that are listed there on page 38. The only other point to make is 2 points to make is one, we're not seeking approval to continue the residential zone review. Talking with the Ministry for the Environment officials, we don't believe that that would qualify for an exemption. The next step in that space will be, following this, is to put forward a public notice, because we have to obviously let the submitters and people who have been engaged to say that that project has stopped. And we will also we'll also put out some communications to everybody who's been engaged in our rural plan change aid work, just to say again, well, that can't continue in its current form. We'll be coming back in 2026 to explore what happens with natural hazards and flood component. But I think that's all that needs to be said about this. It's a kind of a bureaucratic step that we have to do. At this point, we're just asking for delegation to make those applications. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Richard, is there anything you wanted to add?
I don't think you may, Helen. I think myself and Matthew have covered it pretty extensively. There is obviously still work going on in space. It's just we can't progress that through to a plan change stage at the moment.
Thank you. Right, questions, comments, Councillor Ford.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Matthew and Richard. I certainly accept the advice that you're giving us. Just a quick question. I take it you don't think that we're doing enough in the medium density residential area to for our residential plan change to be given any chance of an exemption?
The criteria are pretty set from government in terms of what could qualify for an exemption. Working with our consultant, Planner Daniel Batley, who's preparing that for us, his kind of recommendation was it doesn't tick any of the boxes that in terms of those criteria. And when we checked that as with the Ministry for the Environment officials, their kind of response was, if this got an approval, what plan change wouldn't get an approval? And the government's directive is to stop work unless that's the major message: stop work, except if you have some kind of exceptional circumstances. And essentially, the point there is that residential zone isn't exceptional in any way necessary. I think if it was and looked at, for example, significant rezoning, and actually significant, maybe we had a massive housing shortage, and that was talking to that, then that would be something that the minister would be interested in.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments? Councillor Black.
Thank you. My question is really probably a continuation. I think I, largely agree with kind of what you've raised there. It feels to me a little bit like we're making quite a lot of assumptions about what a minister might or might not think, even though there is a list of criteria. So I'm just wondering, is there any specific advantages or disadvantages to actually applying for an exemption for Plan Change B?
I mean, essentially, it would be just that we would be told no. I think my approach in this is a little bit tactical, to go, let's put forward the ones which we think have the best approach. There's been a lot of conversation with our neighbouring councils and how others are approaching it, and certainly there is a mix of approaches where over here you've got some council, everybody's putting in something, and in some cases they're being very tactical and saying, we're only applying for even a little bit of, say, Plan Change B, so we're not actually applying for the whole project to continue, just an aspect of it. And then you've got others where they're sort of just putting the application. What would you?
Yeah, so we've had a bit of a talk to most of the councils in the Horizons region, and at the moment the only guidance we've got in terms of what Ministry of the Environment have provided is that if you're going to give it a go, we'll give it under this clause, which I think we discussed at the workshop, such other matters that the Minister can is appropriate, that leaves us second guessing what those criteria would be. Ministry officials have been able to actually give us much more guidance on. There's only been one application that's gone through the council that's correcting errors. Picking up on Matt's point, the issue which I think we would have is in terms of the scale of development that plan change being able to achieve, it would have been totally reliant on what the developers have, as Matthew's pointed out. We're not looking at a substantial rezoning. We're not looking at including bespoke medium density areas, which would have triggered the most interest possibly. So that, I guess the only disadvantage is that it's do like people that effort and still be told as well.
Okay, thank you. Sure.
That's right, Matt. Well, I guess and you know, we are being tactical to go, the major messages stop. So unless you think that there's a case, so that's the reason for these recommendations as they sit. We have had the opportunity of talking with the Ministry for the Environment officials, and they are very much building the system as they go. So they had 10 applications in, I think, so far. And my take on that is there is a small window where, you know, if something did come out, if something substantially changed in the advice we've got, there is kind of council meetings, a couple of council meetings before the end of the calendar year, where we could come back and say, hey, look, this is significantly changed. We think there's an argument here. Let's put that back on.
Just to follow up.
Sure.
Have any of those 10 applications had an outcome yet?
No.
Okay.
Apart from Auckland, it's Richard. I mean, the only other thing to point out in that, what I just said is, you know, again, the direction from central government is, hey, you should stop spending time moving things forward on here, and you should start getting ready for the new system. So that's going to be the lens in all the work that we do right now is where's the benefit for them?
So my question follows on from what you've just said. They're saying we have to stop all work until 31st of December 2027. Now, you know, that's 2 years away. And a lot can happen in that time. And what I find interesting, their reason is so that councils can better able to focus on planning, preparing for the new planning system that will replace the RMA. My question to you is, have we got enough confirmed detail to even be doing that yet?
I think that is a very good question. Right, I guess straight back response to that would be the recommendations that are here are only focused on the 2 plan changes that are live, which are the ones that are have been out for notification. There is nothing to say that, you know, as we learn more from central government and they give us more information about the new system and the timing, we can come back in the new year and go, hey, we've got this piece of work. We think that there's benefit in there in continuing that and seeking an exemption and progressing with that. So these recommendations here are primarily focused only on those 2 live plan changes. We'll come back as we know more.
Thank you. I guess from our point of view, you know, our district plan review is so far behind, as in years. We were finally feeling like we were getting on top of this and had done significant work and in some cases consultation, and now we're being told to stop for 2 years, over 2 years. So it better be good. And I think we need, you know, if we're making if we're doing any correspondence with government, we need to actually stress that point. Thank you. Any final questions, comments? Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Worship. Matt, thank you for your recommendations this morning. I know this is quite unrelated to the 2 live plan changes, but it's important that I ask this. Is there anything that you can see with the pause that will impact, and I know Papakainga isn't related to zoning yet, but is there any impact to our current Papakainga applications and projects and any immediate ones that you foresee? Is there anything that's related there that could impact negatively or positively?
In terms of these recommendations, I think it's neutral. You know, the major move that we're seeing in that space is government's introduction of the National Environmental Standard for Papakainga.
Yeah.
we're still believing that that's going to land this side of Christmas, which that
Even
does
with the pause.
because what basically the message from government is that we will standardise a whole kind of section of the planning system, and so that's an example of something where they're going, we will standardise that. Councils, no longer need to do a local kind of decision around that. And from the kind of comparison work that we'd looked at when council here had submitted to national direction around Papakainga, we said, yeah, we support that because it matches in many ways what we were already looking at, but it treats that kind of across the whole district instead of just looking at the rural space. So there's lots of people in the planning community who are waiting to see what this national direction is, and what's meant to land this side of Christmas, because that will continue.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
So Matt, and just following on from that, so will there continue to be, have they indicated opportunities for us to give feedback and submit as they fly the plane?
The only thing that we're hearing about is the new bills associated with the replacement RMA. So that's this, I always hear it on Spatial Planning Act.
So you've got the Planning Act and the Environment Act.
Yeah, the Planning Act and Environment Act. So before Christmas, we're expecting that those two bills will land. And government's intention, as we understand it, is that both bills are passed, going through a select committee, enacted mid-2026. So between now and 2026 is the whole overhaul of the New Zealand planning system. And we'll watch and participate in that.
We will, yes, watch with interest.
And we've also been told there's no exposure draft, because sometimes what they do, remember, with some of the bigger pieces of legislation, they'll release everything in detail and then kind of as a first cut, and then they'll do the actual sort of do this select committee process. They don't have time to do that.
So yeah, that's something like that. We only have one chance to make a submission, and that's probably going to be over the Christmas period, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's important that we do because, don't want to be negative, but given what does tend to happen is we're all hoping that it's going to make life easier for councils and our community to do the things that we want to do. But as we have learned through some of these changes we've seen from central government, they just want to put us all in a box and one size fits all, which we know doesn't. So we do need to be on top of this to make sure that if it does start to restrict what our community wants and the growth that we're experiencing, it's important that we have the opportunity to say, hey, we're not all like that. So, but just thank you for the work. Must be frustrating on a day-by-day basis because, this is what you do for your living, and it's frustrating, but I guess you could also be positive and say it will bring you some opportunities. So thank you for that. Now we have 5 recommendations on page 38. Can I have a brave soul to read those out? Thank you, Councillor Ford.
Thank you, Your Worship. Very brave. I move 1, that the council note the Resource Management, Consenting and Other System Changes Amendment Act 2025. I do note that it's a very sexy sounding act. Effectively stops the district plan review program in its current form, except for identified plan change work granted an exemption by the Minister for the Environment. 2, that the council lodge plan stop exemption applications with the Minister for the Environment for proposed plan change E, Fielding Town Centre, and a draft plan change relating to designations. 3, that the council delegate authority to the Chief Executive to prepare plan stop applications on behalf of the Manawatū District Council. 4, that the council withdraw plan change B, residential zone, in accordance with section 80Q, I think it is, of the Resource Management Act and give public notice as required by section 80R. And 5, that the council give public notice of the status of all proposed planning instruments, including draft plan change A, as required by section 80Y.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Blackmore, thank you. Any further discussion? Put the motions, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motions are carried. Thanks, team.
Thank you.
Okay, item 10.3, we're on page 45. This is just part of our administrative process, seeking application of the Common Seal. This is officially recording when we've used the Common Seal under delegation in the period from 24th of February to the 1st of September. Now, do we need anyone, is anyone going to speak to this, or it's straightforward, isn't it? It is just listing the times that we have used the Common Seal, and it's seeking us to sign those off. So there is a recommendation on page 45. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Blackmore.
I move that the council receive and accept the schedule of sealed documents listed in section 10 of this report from 24th of February 2025 to 1st of September 2025.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Balsky, thank you. Any discussion? None. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. Thank you. Right. Our next item are not due to be here until 10:30. Shall we break from morning tea? Right, let's do that. We'll take a break for morning tea and come back in time for our next presentation. And we are going to item 10.4 on page 49, Manawatū Community Trust Future Plans. And I'm going to get Lynn and Amanda. You're going to help with this, and welcome, Therese. Good to see you again. And so we've got the report, the business case, which we've read, and now's the opportunity to discuss it. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. So, as you've read the paper, you know that Manawatū Community Trust has in the statement of intent that they aim to increase the number of community housing units by 2030, and they're seeking funding through council today from LGFA to be able to commence the next lot of units that they want to start by the end of this year. In this request, there is no impact to the ratepayer, and this continues an arrangement that has been in place for some time with council, where there's been no impact on the ratepayer. And the purposes of, one of the purposes of using this arrangement, the LGFA, is that it allows the trust to receive a more favourable interest rate than it perhaps might do through the bank. And so they were the main points that we wanted to make. Is there anything that you want to add, Teresa?
No, I don't think so. Just that this is an exciting development for us, and it's been on our to-do list for a while, and it also fits within the statement that we have with council. So yeah, so we're at a point now where we're looking to make sure that we have some funding in place before we get the final quotes. It has the resource consent and building consent already. So yeah, just the final stages now of pulling that project together, and hopefully having it started by the end of this year or the beginning of next year.
Excellent, thank you. Right, let's open it up for discussion. Questions, comments, please, from our team. Like you say, it is pretty straightforward, and it is seeking to continue an arrangement that we already have with the trust. Councillor Ford.
Thank you. Thanks for the comprehensive report and business case. I found that really good. The cost of the build is clear, and it worked out about $463,000 per unit. I take it that's for the building only, so that doesn't include the land. Has there been a valuation on what the value of the new development is likely to be?
No, there hasn't. We haven't done that yet. So the forecasting that we have provided in terms of the balance sheet in particular just is at the cost of the build at this point.
Yeah.
You're offering your services.
Is that any question?
Yep, and it doesn't affect our debt cap. That was in the report, so we understand that. And the trust is not a chip.
That's right.
Yep. Because there were some new changes to the chip. People could apply for cheap money, but you're not a chip. So
Yeah, and also to do with the region not being a priority.
Yep. Which is pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I understand that now. So
and listening to Minister Bishop, just carrying on that train of thought, listening to Minister Bishop on the TV last night, trying to justify why state houses are being demolished or blocked up. He said, because there's plenty of other providers out there doing great stuff. And to be for I'm assuming it's our region, not just the district, that's been rejected, because there are chip status providers in the city, aren't there?
Yes, so there's only 4 main chips now that the government want to work with, and they're quite big chips that have, like for example, Christchurch and Auckland, that have really big portfolios and lots of history of developing chip housing already. So the smaller chips.
So they're focusing on the metros rather than, because we were just discussing it, is there an opportunity for council to again lobby the new minister now in this space about, it's all very well sorting out the metros, but actually the provinces can actually help the metros if we're can provide that housing, and I would suggest probably cheaper, then that would help solve some of the issues around some of the bigger centres.
Yes, so I think it is the metros, but also the East Coast area that was affected some time ago. And I did talk very briefly to Christopher Bishop about, our situation, and he wasn't at all, with me willing to entertain it all, that as a council-controlled entity, there would ever be a pathway towards funding.
Yep, which is really frustrating. Thank you, Councillor Shaw.
Thank you. I was going to comment on the time and effort that you prepared to apply to be a chip, and then with it not happening. So I think you've been ready to go on this project for a while, and it's only going to get more expensive if you delay it any longer. So I certainly encourage everyone to support it, and actually for the construction industry in our district, it's come at good time when things aren't great out there in the building industry. So it will be good to see a good sized project underway as soon as possible.
Thank you, Councillor Quarry.
Thank you. How big is your waiting list? How many people would you describe as urgent, and what is the number that you sort of tend to sit at?
Yeah, so we can sit anywhere between 20 and around 35, and at the moment I think we've got 25, and I would only describe 3 of those people as being urgent, and that's because they just have been given notice or are sort of temporarily living somewhere. Yeah, so but our waiting list isn't really indicative, because we have 4 times that many people that would like to be on our waiting list, but because we have a restricted criteria, and also sometimes we have to take people's personal circumstances and how they may fit into the units and complexes into account as well. So our waiting list is people that we genuinely intend to house, rather than everyone that applies.
And currently your occupancy rate is what?
I think it is 99% today.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor. Oh, sorry, Councillor Warwick.
How long is the changeover date between a resident moving out and someone coming in? Is there?
So it's getting quicker and quicker. So sometimes the shortest has been a weekend. And if we're doing complete refurbishments, that can be 2 months to 3 months at the longest. 2 weeks if it's just paint and carpet, a refresh.
So there is always some maintenance to do in between.
Yeah, there usually is, because there's things that tenants don't necessarily have to move out of a unit or do. But for example, restoring historical gardens, so if there's big gardens that new people can't manage and that kind of thing, I think we tend to return those to lawn or to a manageable state. So.
Thank you, Councillor McFadden.
Thank you, Richard. Just a question really for Amanda. If we had a credit rating, this would have positively impact the cost of funds?
So we do have credit rating, so it's been published. And at the end of the day, depending on every piece of debt that we draw down influences our cost of funds because it gets taken into account with the actual total. So whether it's positive or negative, I'm not sure, but our cost of funds rate is at 30th of June was about 3.8%, I think it was, which is extremely low. Depending on the value when we draw down, I expect the interest rates available right now are more than 3.82, but it is an average, the average cost of borrowing. So we can't expect it to go up fractionally, but it's not a cost to us. So it'll be a kind of like a admin number really, because it's not our true cost because the cost is being passed on.
So we pass the cost on as a rolling cost, not as a specific loan cost?
So this loan
average cost?
we're proposing is a specific loan cost. So what we will fix it down for is will be passed on to the community trust at a margin. They're not allowed to pass on equal to or cheaper than loans under the legislation. So but this will be a set loan. We'll be up to 7 our line as we have with one or two of the previous ones. That is their line.
Thank you. Anything further? Otherwise, we do on page 49 have 3 recommendations, and I'll take a mover and a seconder, please.
Could I just note that one of the this highlighted bit originally said it would be fixed loan for 20 years, but actually can't fix it for 20 years, and that would be a really horrendous rate. It will be fixed loan for up to 20 years. We will be fixing it based on whatever the best interest rates are at the time. So it might be that it goes down for 6 and then for a 6, to get to the 20. So it's not fixed for 20. Does that make sense?
Oh, up to 20, yeah. Thank you. So we'll use the wording on the screen. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Ford.
So I should read it off the screen. I move that Council 1 approve loan funding of $5,300,000. $5,300,000 for a period of 20 years to Manawatū Community Trust, with repayments of interest and principal to be repaid monthly. This funding is for the construction of 12 new accessible rental units at Corrick Court Building. 2, note that Council will source this funding from the Local Government Funding Authority as a fixed term loan of up to 20 years, which will be on lent to Manawatū Community Trust. Might be a spelling mistake there. 3, note that there is no ongoing rates impact from this decision.
Thank you. So have a mover. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Balsky, thank you. Any further discussion? None? Put the motions. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motions are carried. Thank you. Well done. And thank you again for the amazing work that you do, and look really forward to seeing this construction start. What's the time frame they're expecting for these to be built?
Yeah, so I think 18 months is the total time of the build, and hoping it will start either pre-Christmas or early in the new year at this point.
And you have let the contract for this work, so you've got ready to go. Excellent, thank you. Thank you to the trustees who've supported you today as well, and thank you for the work that you do on behalf of the community. I am incredibly disappointed about the government's decision around that. It doesn't stop us having a chat at them, excuse me, when we are speaking to them, which we will certainly do. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Your worship,
Councillor Quarry.
excuse me, is it going to be a complete build, or are you going to do, say, 2 or 3 units? Allow people to move in and then carry on?
It's going to be a complete build.
Yeah.
And also we have under construction at the moment our Prince Street properties. I don't know if anyone has been past to see those, but they're in progress at the moment as well.
And what's the estimated finish time for those?
17th of December.
Oh, well.
Is it 3 or 4?
4 2-bedroom.
Excellent.
4 p.m.
Uh,
on the 17th of December.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for coming today.
Be a good building industry. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. There are no late items today, so with that, we can look to move to public excluded. And also move that the public be excluded from the following parts of the proceedings of this meeting, setting out the 5 topics below. So I have a mover, have a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Ford. Put the motion. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, motion is carried. Thank you.